Hey, is this a set of plans or am I happy to see you? It's a set of plans. No, I'm kidding. I am happy to see you. Welcome back to my shop. My name is Dan, and this is where I build, maintain, and sometimes repair my model airplanes. Today, we're going to go over this set of plans that I got. I'm going to show you, here I've got some shots right now that you can take a look at of the plane that we're going to be building. It's the plane that my buddy Mark has, and he was kind enough to make me a set of copies of the plans that he had from it. So, take a look. Oh, that was hard. Okay, so we're out at the flying field today, and this is the face of a guy whose kick-around airplane is a foamy. Just like that, ready? I'm gonna do it again. Okay, so this is the set of plans that we're going to be building with, and oh, I love plans. Plans are so fun. I don't know what it is I like about plans. It's great to have them. I've ordered so many of them and then never built the planes off them. It's kind of a neurological disorder, I guess. But the bottom line is when you have plans, you've got such potential to have an absolutely wonderful aircraft built from it. So today, what I want to do is I want to take these and roll them out. We'll take a look at them, and maybe I can, if you've never seen a set of plans before, we'll do a quick look over and see what they're like, and additionally things to look for and stuff like that. Hopefully this will give you some tips on how to build from plans. We're going to do a quick flyover of the plans here, all rolled out on the table. This is one of the two sheets that's in there, and let's see, everything looks pretty good and straightforward on this plan. My buddy Mark made a photocopy of the plan that he built that airplane that you just saw. And this one here is called the Ryan's Rebel. It's made by a guy named Ryan Gonsolin. So let's start taking a look at the basics of this. Sometimes I'll come out and I will look over a plan. I'll lay it out on the table before I get started, and I'll just look at it because you want to get to learn all the different pieces and where they go. So for instance, this is obviously the fuselage, and all of the different parts are in it, and it shows where everything goes. And you can see where this one here is a bulkhead. This is F2 and F3. And then if we look at this one here, we could see how those same pieces correspond. So here's F3 and F2, and the difference between the two things is this is the overhead view of the airplane. So we're going to use this actually for laying out the airplane body on it because everything is set to the proper measurements. Here's each bulkhead, F4, F5, and F6. And then if we come down here, what those pieces look like is down here. So for instance, let's see here. Here is F6, here's F5, and this is F4. Now these are what we are going to be using as the templates to make the parts that will go eventually onto there. So these parts will get cut out, and I'll show you how to do that. And each part is going to play a role in the structure of the airplane. This here is the tail section of the plane. So this has got the rudder, and then it's also got the fin, which is mounted to the plane itself. And there's a lot of detail here. I mean, it has virtually every piece of wood that we're going to be using is spelled out here. So each piece, like these are 3/8 balsa sheet that are meant to be in this stick size right here. We'll get a little bit more detail as we go, but like you can see, This part here is a triangle stock that actually wedges up against the tail section of the plane and kind of builds a transition. And it'll build a transition right here. We also learn things like, well, okay, this is obviously the tail wheel assembly. There's not a whole lot of detail on that, but that's okay. We'll be able to figure that one out as we go. And that's another thing. This whole deal about building an airplane from plans is you can make some slight changes to it to meet your own preferences. Just because the designer put it down on the wood, or excuse me, put it down on paper of all the different parts and the wood and everything, doesn't mean that you can make little changes to it that might actually be better. I mean, this plane was designed back in the early 2000s, I guess, and geez, since the early 2000s, we've had several changes in materials and other methods of how we create the planes and different materials that we can use in building them that are better than there was back at that time. So I'm going to see if I could find some places where maybe I'll want to put in different devices, or maybe I'll change the way something is set up. But it gives you a little bit of freedom when you're building the plane. This is something you don't get when you buy a 90% ARF plane. You need to you don't have the freedom and the ability to make changes of it as it's being built. So this is a great opportunity if you want to do something a little bit different than the plan. All right, so we'll get back to here once again looking at the details. This is obviously the CG marker where the plane must balance, and we've got a side view here of the actual rib, and from this we can see that this is a fully symmetrical rib. It is equal in shape on the bottom as it is on the top, and that means it's going to be a very aerobatic airplane, and that's something that we're looking for on this particular plane. The fuel tank is most likely going to go right up into the front section here, and it's got little details about well, they're using toothpicks here to support the firewall. That's a nice touch. That'll help strengthen it up. And then of course here's the landing gear. This is the part that I'm taking off the other plane is going to be there. I don't know, just a whole bunch of different things to look at. So that's pretty cool for this sheet. Let's take a look at the wing sheet next. Next we have the wing sheet. This is a massive piece of paper. This thing is actually 96 inches long, and it goes, my table is only 84 inches long, so it's got a suggestion in the plan instruction to go ahead and build the wing as one piece, building it all the way across the bench at 96 inches. That's not going to work on my bench. I'm going to have to build it one panel at a time and then mate it together. It'll work fine, but I wish I had a table that was absolutely huge, and maybe one of these days I'll get one. So let's take a look at the wing. The wing plan is right here. This is once again an overhead looking down view on the wing, so we can see all the different things in here. Each one of these is a rib that's along the way in there. And of course there's the spar. This is going to be the major support that's going to run through the entire wing. This is made of spruce, as it says right there. But it's really kind of cool to look at the plans, and you can see all the different pieces of wood that are in there and how they're going to tie together. Now, one thing that I think is kind of, take a look at this, you kind of have to use the plan against itself to get a good understanding of what's going where. So for instance, you see this line here where it says A with a slash. That means item number A is represented in this area here to show you exactly, if you were to make a cut in this wing, what would it look like. So we'll go back over to here, and here it is, the marker for section A to A, meaning that if you were to cut the wing right there, this is what it would look like inside. And the helpful information you get from this is, first of all, there's a rib. So this is, once again, remember that one we were showing the symmetrical rib on the last part. This is that same rib, but this is the absolute full-scale version of it. And we're going to be, here's the template for the ribs, and they're all the same. Looks like we're going to need 22 of them. So getting back to that, once again, if you look at that section right there, you can see, okay, well, here's these spars, and that's these pieces right here. Here's the main spar, spruce spars are right here, and it shows sideways in here. So if you're looking down that angle of the wing, you see all these same parts again. These are 1/4 inch spars that are in the back, and that's right here. And it's nice because everything is lined up with this, so you can see exactly where these parts go all the way down the wing. The slicing of the wing is kind of a homogeneous view of it. It'll look the same no matter where you sliced it, as long as it's got this rib nearby. All right, last part here is the aileron stock is here, and that's what it looks like from the side view when you're looking at it with the wing, looking straight down the wing. So that's one thing. One thing that I think is kind of interesting also about that cut is it gives us an idea. This is sheeting that's going to go over the top of the wing, and that's down here. Let's go back here real quick and I'll show you. Okay, you can see on here where the sheeting is. This is the very leading edge of that wing, and you can see here they've drawn a bunch of these little lines. This represents that there is a sheet of balsa right here in this section. And anytime you see this, you see these lines that are dotted, that means it's the structure that's underneath that sheeting that you can see with this. So anytime you see dotted lines, it means that there's something underneath there. So for instance here, this is a cap strip, which is just a small piece of balsa that will ride on top of the rib, and there's the rib right underneath it. And this rib goes all the way down into the base of the wing, and this is what they call the trailing edge right here. Wow, it's a whole lot of plan here. But anyways, I just kind of wanted to go over things with you as far as basically what we're looking at on this plan. Pretty straightforward. There's not really anything that's difficult. There's no serious curves or bends or anything. This is going to be a pretty basic plane to put together. If you are interested in this plane, I'm going to put a link down below where you can get the plans for it. It's a free download. You can just take the PDF file to your local. I took it to Staples to get a printout made of it, so that I actually have 2 sets of plans. One of them I will be using to help with the transfer of the templates onto the wood, and I'll show you how to do that next. But anyways, this article here is also going to be in the link so that you can find this. And it's helpful. You know, construction articles are kind of bland. It's not the most exciting reading in the world, but you get a lot of information from it that you might not get just looking at it. So if you can get one of these with the plan that you decide you want to get eventually, they're great. I'll tell you what the best part is right in the back here. This guy was so thoughtful. This page here is the materials list. So it has every piece of wood that's in the plan itself, so you can know exactly what you need to buy, what size, how many of them. And generally when they write these, they write them a little bit more, so you're going to have leftover wood, but they'll have it so that you can possibly maybe screw something up once and then still have enough wood to make a second one if you did, on some of the parts anyways. But that's the best part about this whole list. The rest of it is, you know, a lot of these constructions are about the same. So the steps are the same no matter if this is your first plane or your 28th. So anyways, Ryan's Rebel plan. I'll put the information for that in the description down below. And other than that, next time we'll come back and I will talk to you about how we're going to start cutting all these parts out. It's going to be a great time. It's going to be a lot of fun. All right, so if you haven't already, I'd really appreciate it if you subscribe right down here below. I've only got 4 subscribers right now, and I think one of them is my mom. So help me out here. We're going to be continuing to build this. I plan on posting new steps of the plan and the building and showing you how to do things as we go, hopefully weekly. Maybe I can get a couple in a week, but we'll see how things go. I'm really excited to build this. It's been about 4 or 5 years since I built a plane from scratch, so getting back into it is going to be a lot of fun. And come along with me and enjoy the journey. And heck, build one for yourself. Until next time, I'll see you later.